Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, man. Hey, I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm up and breathing this morning. I still got a chance to win. And if you're looking at this Zoom, you got a chance to win too, guys. And so, truly excited to spend a few minutes with you this morning on this AM Power Zoom. And these Zooms have been so impactful, all right, and inspirational. I've been in this industry for 26 years now. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Keith Williams Diamond out of Dallas, Texas, and truly grateful to be a part of this company. But most importantly, to be a part of this community where it's set up for us all to win, man. I mean, the layers of leadership and the inspirational content that were provided every single morning, man, Monday through Friday is just simply amazing. I've paid tens of thousands, right? And I mean tens of thousands of dollars to get access to the information that we all have free in this community. And that's something to be truly grateful about because it's one thing to be inspired, but it's another thing to inspire others. And so, man, kudos to everyone that gets up and knocks these Zooms out every morning and keeps digging in. I believe that iron sharpens iron, right? To be in concert with the magnitude of leadership that we have in this company that continues to sharpen my skill set, continues to keep me studying and reading and improving on my craft so I can get back to others. That's what I'm truly grateful for. And so if you're grateful this morning, man, just to be on here, if you're grateful just to be getting the information, put a one in the chat, right? Because I believe everything starts with gratitude, right? Everything rises and falls on leadership, and that is very so true. But everything, guys, everything starts with gratitude. And so if you were able to take in that breath and open your eyes this morning, that's enough to be grateful for because that means you have a chance to get it together, right? And that's all I can hope for is to wake up every morning with another chance to get it together, guys. And these Zooms Monday through Friday helps me get it together. I've had pages and pages of notes that I've taken, and I was on listening to Brooke the other day, and I said, man, and she really caused some awareness, right? And I had to look at myself and say, hey, you still got some getting together to do, brother, because she really brought to my attention that you can have balance and still be successful. And that's some things that I work on. And so to still after 26 years to get on these Zooms and to still get information that inspires me and creates that awareness and allows me to go work on some things. I gotta be grateful for that, guys. And so I'm not gonna be with you long this morning. I'm gonna get you back to the balance of you all's day. Some things that I want to talk about are some things that help me in this industry. And one thing about me, right, you have to simplify things for me. You have to make it simple and make it plain because I'm definitely not the smartest tool in the shed, right? I'm just happy to be in there. So I like things simple. I like things to be broken down, and that helps me. And I struggled a lot early on in this industry because I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, right? I knew I wanted it. I knew I wanted to win, uh, and but I just didn't know how, right? I was committed to the process, but like I talked about before, in the win factor, right? What's your willing? If you want to know how coachable, teachable, and trainable that you are, you have to know your willingness to learn, time your willingness to change. And I was willing to learn. I mean, if it was on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, my willingness to learn was at a 10, but my willingness to change was at a 0. And when 10 times 0 is 0, and so I wasn't coachable, I wasn't teachable, and I wasn't trainable. I was showing up and I was committed to the process, and I wanted to learn, and I was eager to learn. I was excited to get the information, but I wasn't willing to apply the information. And when I started doing that, right, and that's why started off talking about that level of awareness, listening to Brooke talk about some things that I personally, I mean, we have some great speakers, but things that I was dealing with. And she allowed me to see some things that I needed to fix, I needed to change. Because I said, man, if they can do it at the level that they're doing it at, right? If they can succeed at the level they're succeeding at and still have basic principles in their life that allows them to have balance, then I need to fix some things too, because if they can do it, I can do it. And so, getting on and learning and really starting to apply some of the things that I started to apply, that's what changed for me. A year and a half of my first company, and I didn't recruit one person, right? Most people would have quit, right? Most people would have quit. But like I said, my willingness to learn was at a 10, right? And because that part was there, I was willing to keep going, right? I didn't have the greatest skill set, right? It took me 6 years to graduate high school, right? I got into college with a 1.9 GPA. I still to this day cannot spell, right? And my grammar and penmanship is at the level of an elementary school student, and that's all facts. But my, my will, right? I had phenomenal will, I had the willingness to learn, and phenomenal will to out trump skill any day of the week. And the skills came later because I allowed myself time to grow, right? And a lot of times we don't do that in this industry. We get frustrated so fast. And so, what I want to talk about, see if I can share my screen here. One second, guys. Put it in presentation mode, right? Hope everybody can see it. Oh, okay, great. Think we've been busy. I think we cooking with grease now. And so, one thing that I want to talk about, guys, is the three core principles of network marketing, right? If you could see my screen, drop a two in the chat. If you know what I'm saying, hope you have a notebook, you have a pen, you are taking copious notes this morning because these things simplified a lot for me, right? They simplified a lot for me, and I was able to break this industry down, guys, because I understood the three core commitments, right? Okay, boom. I understood the three core commitments. Sorry, the three core principles. I said three core commitments. That's another training. The three core principles of network marketing. When I understood this, I understood these principles, it changed a lot for me because I understood the components in which it took to grow this industry. And like I said, it was simplified for me. And so these three core principles, guys, is network marketing is numerical, right? And we're going to get in there and break these down. It's not going to take long. We'll be out of here in less than 30 minutes. It's duplicatable, right? Number two. And number three, guys, is psychological. And I'm going to get into how these things take place and how if you use these three principles, right? If you use these three core principles in this industry and you apply these things, right, it'll start becoming simple for you. I don't like to use the word easy because I don't believe, no pun intended, easy, right? I know he's out there listening somewhere, but I don't like to use the word easy, guys. I like to use the word simple because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But the thing about it is, everybody that does it, right? Everybody that does it, right, can actually do it if they understand, right, the principles that govern this industry, guys. And so let's jump into it, right? Let's talk about the first principle. Principle number one: network marketing is numerical, right? Success is in the numbers. The more, the more exposures, the more enrollments. All right. And I understood that, man, when I looked at leaders in this space that have massive organizations, right? And I've, studied some of the best. I, watched interviews with the best. I mean, Jerry Ronald Clark used to do a CD series back in the day, right? CDs, right? That's when go back. We went back right with that one. But he used to do these CDs series and actually audio tapes back in the day too as well. And it was called Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. And you can go back and look. I think it's some YouTube out there. He also wrote a book called I forgot, I think it was The Rhino. But it was a great series. And so, and I was studying these guys and listening to their stories and their testimonies. Like I said, my willingness to learn was at a 10. But my willingness to change was at a 0, right? And so what I understood is like, man, how do they get thousands of people in their organization? How do they build these massive teams? How do they recruit so many people? Like how, what were they doing? And when I understood that it's a numbers game, right? When I understood that, you can have organizations of thousands of people, right? Some of the people listening this morning, some people are on here, guys. We have some giants on this Zoom this morning, right? That we're standing on the shoulders of, like a David, like a Miles, like a Brooke, like a James, right? And I go on and on with some of the leaders that are over here in this company. But it all started with them, right? It all started with them. It all starts with one, and you're that one person, right? And you got to get it going. You get the numbers going, right? You're the one that has to start. When I first got involved in Vital Health a couple months ago, I contacted over 135, well, 156 people. 156 people is how many people I contacted, right? Out of that 156 people, I personally sponsored up, I think about 36 people. And those 36 people have approached about 560 people. And so, but it all started with the first person I picked up the phone and contacted. So a lot of times we try to figure out how do we get this thing going because we're looking at the finished product, right? We're looking at the finished product and we don't understand, right, what it took to get that product developed. We don't understand what it took for that person. How many people did they have to reach? How many no's did they have to go through? And so, guys, it all starts with you. And when I understood that, I started saying, okay, what can I do to make me a better recruiter? What can I do to be more attractive? And we'll get into that in the third principle. But the second thing in this is focus on the daily activity, the goals, right? The goals. What does your daily method of operations look like? Right? What does your calendar look like? If people, if, I tell people all the time, show me your calendar, right? Show me your calendar, right? And I can show you what your compensation plan is going, what your compensation is going to look like. Because your daily method of operations dictates your daily activity, right? What does that daily activity look like? Are you doing plan, do, review, right? Are you planning your day the night before? Are you going out executing on the things that you said that you're going to do throughout the day? And then are you going back at night and reviewing those things to see how you can get better day by day? And those are the things that I started to do. And I started to do those things, guys. Then I started to get results. And so, focus on the reach outs, right? How many people are you contacting on a daily basis? And follow-ups. How many people are you following up with? How many presentations? Which, like when I look at my calendar, I see the amount of three ways. I mean, somebody reached out to me last night to say, "Are you busy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm filling my calendar up." Right? What city am I being in next weekend? Who three ways I'm going to do today? How many launches do I have going on in a day? Right? What's the Zoom like? And I'm not just participating on the Zooms, guys, but how many people am I plugging into? What does my guest registration look like for the opportunity exposures? And I'm tracking down my daily activity. Right? I'm tracking down the things that I'm doing on a daily basis. I'm making sure that I'm plugging people in front of information. We have almost realistically between the teams and corporate, there's probably a Zoom going on or multiple Zooms going on every single day. And so there's always a platform for you to plug your people into so they can get the information. Right? What's your ratio? Your ratio improves over time with consistency, skills, right? Don't take rejection personally. It's going to happen the more you do it. Repetition is the mother of all skill. And what I realized is the more I did it, the better I got. The more I did the presentation, the better I got. The more people I talked to and the more rejection that I got, the better I got because what I was doing my plan do review. I was finding out what worked for this person and what didn't work for that person. And when I got my yeses, because I was tracking everything, and I still do that today, right? I still write down all the people that I'm going to talk to, and I contact those individuals. And then the ones that say no, I still put them into to the side, right? Why they say no? Well, why this person say yes? Do they have similarities in their personalities? What can I change? I'm making those little small errors and judgments, guys, because that's the difference between winners, right? And people that don't win. I hate using the word losers, right? You got winners and you got people that don't win. And so the difference between those individuals is the people that win, they correct those small errors in judgment, right? Those little things that they can fix. It's those little things that they change, those little things that they adjust that make them better every single day, right? Guys, if you improve 1% a day, right? Just 1% a day, right? Just 1% a day. That's a 30% improvement over a month, right? Take 30% over a month and multiply that times 12. What's the percentage on that? Right? Those little small adjustments. And even after 26 years in the industry, I'm still making those corrections. I'm still seeking mentorship. I'm still humble enough to listen to those that have what I want, right? And understand what they do and see how I can improve on that. And so don't take rejection personal. It's part of the math, right? I love that statement. It's part of the math, right? And the numbers don't lie. As a matter of fact, and learn how to increase your rate of failure. Don't be afraid of the no, right? Don't be discouraged with the no. Don't take the no offensive. People are not saying no to you, right? They might be saying they might not be saying no to the opportunity. It's just that they haven't got enough information to make a rational decision yet, or the timing isn't right for them. Remember, I said no stands for not obligated, right? Nobody's obligated to join your business, but you are obligated to go out there and keep sharing the information, right? And so just know that no's is part of the math, it's part of the process, it's going to happen, right? Increase your rate of failure. The person with the most no's win, right? What I like to look at it, when I looked at it from a different perception, because I'm an introvert, right? I don't like talking to people. I don't like going outside, right? But I know it's things I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I know if I want to be successful in this industry, some things that I had to change. It's some things that I know that I was uncomfortable with. I still don't like public speaking, right? Most people can't tell. I don't like it. And I get nervous before a Zoom, right? But I understand it's part of the process. And I understand that I'm okay with, I've accepted the fact that I'm never going to be comfortable with speaking. And the fact that I understand that, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And I do it anyway. And so in knowing those things, I had to do some things. I had to work on myself. I had to do the inner work, guys. And so track your numbers, man. Track your numbers. I say it all the time, ladies and gentlemen. In order for you to grow your numbers, you must know your numbers, right? The back office, and talking to James, he said, "Man, why we're not even going to recognize the back office?" I love the back office, right? But the fact that the company is making improvements to make it even better, right, and make it even more user friendly, and to design it so you can run your business, guys. All your logistics, everything you need to know is right there in your back office. You can operate a multi-million-dollar business. And I mean that wholeheartedly, right? We have diamonds over here and triple diamonds and purple diamonds and black diamonds, right? That are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars in volume every single month, right? Or individual organizations that's doing millions of dollars in volume a year. And you can run that from your back office, understanding your numbers, right? Tracking the growth of your business, knowing what's going on with your team, knowing who's qualified and not qualified, right? Knowing who's close to hitting rank and not close to hitting rank, knowing where to put your energy at and where not to put your energy at, knowing where to put your resources at and your time at. You can track all that from your back office because what you don't measure, guys, you can't grow, right? I want you to write that down. What you don't measure, you cannot grow. That's why the calendar is important, right? That's why doing a plan do review is so important because you're tracking your growth. Do you think that Walmart tracks their growth? You think that you can go back right now, Walmart could tell you this day 3 years ago where the numbers were and whether they have improved over the last 3 years or whether they stayed the same or whether they had a decline in revenue. They know these things because they track their numbers, right? Well, we're a business and we're a business of numbers, right? Everything is numbers. The volume is numbers. The number of people you recruit is numbers. The number of customers you got is all numbers. And you have to be able to track those numbers, right? It's not about you. It's not about who says yes. It's about how many people you ask. Right, man, when I got that right there, ladies and gentlemen, it changed my perception of no. Right? It's not about who says yes. It's really not about who says no. It's about how many people you ask. It's a numbers game, and it all starts with you, right? In order for your business to get off the ground, in order for your business to get traction, in order for your business to build momentum and have motion, it starts with you, right? And when you procrastinate on the things that's going to allow you to get the information in front of people, then you are slowed down. You slow down your growth. I tell people all the time, the business isn't slow. I hear that all the time. In every company I've been in, oh man, the business is just slow right now. I said, are you sure the business is slow? Right? I said, if you recruit somebody right now, will they pay you? Yes. If you sell somebody products right now, will they pay you? Yes. If somebody on your team does something right now, when they pay you? Yes. Well, it seems to me that the business moves fast as you move, right? The business is not slow. Sometimes it's us that's slow, right? Sometimes it's us not doing those daily method of operations and doing things that it does that we need to do to make the business do what it's supposed to do, right? And so, guys, if you're getting some value out of this, if this information is impactful, put a 5 in the chat because I want to know that you get it because it's not hard, right? It's not easy either, but it's simple, right? It's simple when you do those simple things. I read a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And in that book, he said, what's easy to do is also easy not to do, right? He said being successful is hard, but being unsuccessful is hard too. And then he goes on to say, you have to choose your hard because both of them are hard. I watched a movie the other day, man, an amazing, amazing movie called Straw, right? And one of the most impactful lines in that movie by one of the hostages was in the bank, right? Because I look for inspiration in everything. I look for inspiration. Inspiration is all around you. And one thing she said, people don't understand how expensive it is to be poor. Man, I got goosebumps all over me when I heard that line. She said, people don't understand how expensive it is to be poor. Then I went back to the book by Jeff Olson and I said, man, you got to choose your heart, right? You got to choose your heart. And so, I chose success, right? If it was life was going to be hard, I was going to choose the latter, right? And so, guys, let's move on, right? The next thing is about 10 minutes. The next thing is duplication. That's the second, right? Because you want the duplication to happen. To me, I always believe if it's not duplicatable, it's not profitable. And that's why I love simple, right? I love simple. I needed something that anybody could duplicate. And before I do anything, right, the first thing I ask myself is that duplicatable? When somebody says, oh, you know what? Hey, Keith, I got a great idea, right? And I always listen. I always want to hear what the idea is because you just never know, right? But how I evaluate that idea, how I evaluate anything I do, I say, is that duplicatable, right? Because the only thing that matters in this industry is duplication, right? That's the only thing that matters. And so when you're doing the numerical part, that's the addition. That's the addition, but the duplication is the multiplication, right? That's the multiplication. We got a saying on my team that says, hey, we don't die, we multiply, right? And so the duplication is the multiplication in your team. It's the multiplication in your growth. It's the multiplication in the process. In the residual, it's all about duplication. So what you do must be simple enough for anyone to copy. Anyone to copy. And so before you come out with these mega world-changing ideas, right? Is it duplicatable? Use systems over superstars. Man, right? I went through my superstar phase. I'm not gonna lie to you. We all get it, right? We don't want to talk about it, but it happens, right? Anybody that tells you it doesn't happen, guys, most likely they're not telling you the truth. We all get stage drunk. We all reach a part. I mean, when you think about where I came from, right? Well, I mean, hey, I was already written off. I was supposed to lose, be in jail or dead. I was not supposed to be on stage talking to thousands and thousands of people. I wasn't supposed to do that. And so it was a time where I went through my superstar phase. And I got mic drunk, right? And I'm like, man, I went from the hood to doing good. I went from hell to doing well. And I'm on the stage, right? Talking to thousands of people. And I had to understand that that's not duplicatable, right? That's not duplicatable. Everybody's not going to do that. I need duplication. I need this. It has to be simple. And so I learned to use systems over superstars. And I started making the system the superstar and not myself, right? I started edifying the system and not myself. I started edifying the things that duplicate, the tools, the scripts, the presentations, right? The tools, the scripts, the presentations. We have some amazing tools over here, right? We have Ask Vital. I mean, man, that tool right there alone is worth millions of dollars when used correctly. Imagine how many people can duplicate that, right? Imagine that tool, the bot, it don't get tired, it don't get sleepy, it don't take vacations, it don't take breaks, it don't get sick, right? And when you're not working, it's still working. That's an amazing tool, right? We have the scripts. I mean, I'm looking at David's training, and as soon as he finishes the training, he puts the PowerPoint out there and just gives it freely and say, here, use it. And there's so many things and so many scripts and so many things that you can say in there. I mean, his book is amazing, right? I think I've read it about 5 times already. I think I gave away 100 copies of it because I understand it's a tool, right? There's scripts in there, there's things in there people can use. I want to get it out. I don't care if it's $5 a book, 500, who cares? $500, I'll give out another 100 because I know it only takes one person to get it. You know, one person to get it, change your whole life, right? And then the presentations, I won't have to go over how many times the opportunity is being presented. Every single day, you have an opportunity to put people in front of information. It's like a machine, right? You have so many leaders that are willing to take a few minutes out of their day over here to share the opportunity so you can get your guest on. And so, guys, use systems over superstars, right? Keep it step by step. This is my system. Onboard, launch, duplicate. Onboard, launch, duplicate. Onboard, launch, duplicate. Right? In the onboarding process, we're doing the welcome calls. We're letting people know, hey, it's other levels of leadership over here. You're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. If you can't reach me, you can reach Eric Eve. If you can't reach Eric Eve, you can reach David, right? You can even reach other diamonds in the organization. All right, in the onboarding process, we welcome people. And then once we welcome them, what do we do next? We do a game plan interview to set the right expectations, to manage emotions, to set short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals in the onboarding process. And then what we do, we set the launch date immediately. We immediately set the launch date. And we don't launch one time, we launch over and over and over again, right? And then we duplicate that process. We duplicate that process over and over and over again, right? I don't know how many launches, maybe like 10, 11 launches this week alone. And we duplicate that process. We keep it step by step, right? And then don't overwhelm new partners. Plug them into a path, plug them to a system, right? To help them create a daily method of operations. Don't, overwhelm them with all the ingredients in the products, right? Don't overwhelm them with everything that happens in the compensation plan and, how we get paid this way and how we get paid that way, right? We want to keep it simple. We want to create a data method operation that allows them to hit short-term, mid-term, and then long-term goals. Everything else they're going to learn in the process, right? And then teach people to use the system, not to rely on you. Heard somebody say the other day, and I heard it too, that the goal was to get to get to the front of the room, right, as fast as possible, and then work your way back to the back of the room and get other leaders in front of the room and then teach them how to do the same thing. And you do that by teaching people to use the systems, not to rely on you, right? And then remember this, guys, if it can't be duplicated, it can't be scaled. Only thing that matters is what you can duplicate, right? What you can do, what you can duplicate. Your residual is directly tied to your duplication, right? The growth of your organization is directly tied to your duplication. Your developing leaders is all tied to your duplication. You know what I'm saying? But remember, it all starts with you. And so it's numerical and it's duplicatable. And last but not least, guys, it's psychological. Now, the numerical part, I got that down, right? Took me a little while, but I got it down. It starts with me, right? And as I started producing, it started to duplicate. Uh, the numbers started to grow, but the leadership in organization, I could never get it past me. I could never get the leadership to go past me, right? I would John C. Maxwell talks about the law of the lid. And there was a lid there, and I kept hitting the top of the lid. And then I had to understand that the third principle of this industry is psychological. I had to understand that people buy into you before they buy products, right? People buy into you before they buy into the business. And my mentor said, hey, if you work on you more than you work on your business, if you write this down, ladies and gentlemen, if you work on you more than you work on your business, then your business will start to grow, right? Because people have to be attracted to you and you have to become attractive, and you become attractive by working on you, right? By working on your belief. It says right here, build belief in the industry, right? I had to believe in the industry. All the no's, all the negative naysayers, even coming from people that I love and care about, right? People that I had slept next to at night, right? People that were in my ear constantly all the time about their negative perceptions and their what they value, right? Their principles, their belief systems that would go against my belief system that would not allow me to believe in the industry. I was in the industry, but did I believe in it? And man, without a shadow of a doubt, like I said, I'll do network marketing until they throw the dirt on me. I might venture out to other businesses, but as far as this industry, this is what I'll do for the rest of my life because I believe in the industry. Then do you believe in the company? Right? I had a talk with an individual the other day and he said, man, I just can't get the business going. I just can't get it going. Right? I don't know what to do, man. It's just not working for me. And then we had another conversation. He said, man, this might just not be for me. Right? And I said, man, you got to work on your belief system. Right? You got to work on your belief system. I said, we know what's wrong. We got to work on your belief system because I hear it in your conversation, the doubt, right? The lack of belief. And so, either you don't believe in the industry, you don't believe in the company, you don't believe in the products, or you just don't believe in yourself. But either way it goes, we have to work on your belief system, right? You have to believe in the company. I remember me and Mr. Carter, right? We drove down to San Antonio. Was it Austin? No, it was San Antonio, and we met with Alex, and I met him for the first time there, and I met with Dr. Tony and some of the other leaders. Like I said, the meeting was primarily Spanish. 26 years in the industry, guys, I've never had a translator before, right? So that was interesting, and the energy in the room was amazing, right? But that meeting, even though I didn't understand a lick of what was being said, right? Easy had knew a little Spanish. I was asking people in the room, hey, what'd they say? But I sat on the edge of my seat the whole time because the energy, the belief was there, and it impacted my belief. I went there to have my belief impacted because that's what I needed for me. Right, that's what I needed for me. And when I had a chance to talk to Alice, I had a chance to talk to Dr. Tony, and I had a chance to hear the story from them, right? It impacted my belief in the company. When I saw that, man, Dr. Tony, where he was jumping on chairs and jumping on tables and using my head for a stick shift, right, while in the middle of the meeting. Man, I said, man, this gentleman is definitely a product of the product. His energy is crazy, right? I said, because if I get on that chair, I need help getting down. I need to have what he has, right? I want to throw whatever you take in, I want to take that, right? And so, guys, and then to hear Alex's story and his belief in the company and, and why he designed the compensation plan the way he did. And that increased my belief in the company, in the products. I already had belief in the industry. And self-manage your mindset, that's just simply belief in yourself. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you hanging around? Right? What are you investing into yourself, your personal development? I could tell within 5 minutes of talking to somebody if if they're personally developed or not. 5 minutes. The first few words that come out of their mouth, let me know if they're personally developed or not. Right? And it also allows me to protect the frequency of my energy because certain energy I don't want around me. And certain energy you shouldn't want around you too because your energy transfers. And if your energy is transfers, that means their energy is transferred too. And so you got to protect your energy at all costs. And how do you protect your energy? By managing your mindset, right? By developing personally. Guys, when I started to understand the psychological aspect, when I started to read the books and listen to the audios and go to the events and get the mentors, and I started to understand how people work, right? Man, let me tell you something. Let me give you a little secret, right? Lean in close, right? So you can hear this secret. We are in the people business. I'm gonna say that one more time. We are in the people business. So I said, man, if we're in the people business, it might behoove me, right, to understand and learn how people work, to understand the psychology of how the mindset of people, to understand the personality traits of different people, to understand that somebody's a red that's money driven, right? They're not going to want all the analytics like an analytical person wants. And a person that is analytical, right? I can't talk to somebody that likes to have fun about the analytical aspects of the business. And a person that's a giver, right? That's a yellow, they don't want to hear about all the money that I'm making. What are we doing to help? Right? What are we doing to help people? What are we doing to build culture? What are we doing to help the team? And so when I understood the psychological aspect, it started to develop that skill set and I started to become more attractive. But the first person I had to fix was me. When you're on the plane, what they say? The first mask you need to put on is yours before you help other people. I was out there trying to help everybody and couldn't even help myself. Right? And so when the awareness was there and I understood some things I had to work on, I was able to work on me. Then I was able to attract other people to my business. Right? And this might be your development season. I don't know what season that you're in. I will tell you this, that is no losses, is only lessons. And so if you're not where you're at right now, if you're not where you want to be right now, if you're not earning the income, if you're not ranking right now, be grateful that you're in a culture that allows you to learn how to do those things. You're in a culture that's going to develop those skill sets to let you know, don't get frustrated, right? Because people go years without being infused in a culture that's so strongly so strongly developed from a leadership standpoint. I mean, we got so many developed leaders over here that are going to help you learn the skill set. They're going to make you a better person. It's okay. Right? It's okay to be in your learning phase. It's okay to be in your development phase. It's okay to be in a dispensation in your life where you're learning how to become a better leader. You're learning how to become a better person. You're learning how to attract more people because, guys, leadership is the highest paid profession in the world. The highest paid profession in the world is leadership, right? The leaders make the money. And so I understood that these are things that I had to learn. I had to work on myself, ladies and gentlemen. And so be relatable and authentic. Be relatable and authentic. I I've never changed who I am. Right? I never changed who I am. I know how to put it on, I know how to take it off. I know how to put on a three-piece suit and hit the stage, and I still know how to go home and hang with my peoples. Right? I'm not gonna be authentic and I'm relatable. I still jumble words, I still mess up words, right? I don't people like, hey, you want the whiteboard? I said, no, don't give me a whiteboard, right? Because the only person that's gonna be able to read it is me. You see what I'm saying? I know who I am, I know what I'm capable of, but it doesn't stop me from doing it. People can relate to me because I'm real. I'm my authentic self. I just been developed, right? I know how to have the conversations. I know how to impact people. I understand, what it takes to develop and grow a business, but it doesn't change who I am authentically. I am who I am, right? I am who I am. And a lot of times we don't want to accept who we are, and we don't feel like who we are is going to be accepted in certain rooms. But who you are is who draws people to you, right? You just have to work on some things. Because I'm gonna say it like this: people follow people, not perfection. I'm not trying to be perfect, right? I'm trying to be relatable and authentic. I'm trying to let people know if you can do it. See, that's what we miss. If I can do it, you can do it. coming from where I come from, right? If I can be on stage talking to thousands of people, if I can make millions of dollars in this industry, you can do it too, right? You don't have to change who you are, but you do have to change who you are, right? And if you can't change the people around you, then you have to change the people around you. And some of you will get that maybe later, right? But stay true to yourself, but still work on yourself, right? And then this right here, recognition, man, recognition, 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 right? Babies cry for it, grown men die for it. I understand that people need to be recognized. I understand that people in their current environments don't get recognized, right? And so when you got people that single moms, right, that gotta manage what they're gonna do with their kids, couples that gotta manage their schedules, people that are working two jobs, right? People that are going through things mentally, physically, emotionally, and then you ask them, right, as leaders to come into an environment like this and produce. And so when they do produce, you gotta recognize that. You gotta recognize that, man. Right? I'm big on recognition. I'm big on, man, look, hey, people that come over here and take it on the chin every day, right? And take the bumps and the bruises and the no's and the rejection and everything that comes with this industry because it can be mentally draining. That's why the personal development is important. And then they hit that rank of bronze. We're going to recognize that because we know what it takes, right? We recognize people when they get two people and get dual team qualified. We recognize everybody because I know how important recognition is, right? You win on this team, man, you're going to need a suitcase to take home all the hardware because the things that they do impact my family, right? The freedoms that I have, I wouldn't have without the people that take it on the chin and bleed every day in the field. And so they're giving what they have, right? And so we got to give back. And so recognition is so important. It's so important. I remember that first trophy I got, right? I wanted that trophy so bad, so bad. And I was like, well, man, I'll get it at the next convention, right? And I remember I didn't even realize the person I was becoming trying to get that trinket, right? The person I was becoming to get it because I wanted it so bad, right? I wanted to be recognized so bad. And so I understood that. And so recognition is so important. And then culture. I mean, guys, culture, man, culture is everything, right? Culture is everything. I mean, it's infused in the fabric of every company when you have great culture, right? Culture is so important. I remember in I think I was in maybe the fourth grade. I can't remember. And LL Cool J came out with a song, and it was called "I Need Love." Right? When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall. In the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call, telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove for the first time in my life. I say I need. I know the whole song. I wrote it down on paper. It was infused in the culture still today. I said, man, LL Cool J taught me I need love. I know what it looks like now. Right? I want that. You see what I'm saying? And it's infusing the culture, guys. People, and when you think about it, is when people say the name Vital Health, right? It should be like Mufasa, man. Remember the hyena said Mufasa and trembled. Let's just say it again, Mufasa. Whoo, say it again, right? When people say Vital Health, the hyena was the enemy of Mufasa, but just the sound of his name was embedded. They knew who he was because of the culture, right? Even our haters, right? Even our so-called competition, right, should tremble and feel something when they hear the name Vital Health. They should feel it because of the culture that we created. Right? It's infused in the DNA and the fabric of this company. And so culture is important. And we're developing the culture, right? And that culture starts, I start that culture with my team Diamond Breakers. There's no separation or isolation from Vital Health, right? But it's, as a team, we're proud and we're a representation of what this company represents, the professionalism, right? The togetherness, the unity, right? What we do as a team is a representation of what this company is about, right? And so what does our culture look like? And personal growth matters more than compensation alone, man. Personal growth matters the more. My money did not grow until my personal development grew. My money did not grow until my personal development grew. Right? When I started to work on myself, and then I realized that, man, personal development is more than a compensation plan alone. Right? Remember, leadership is the highest paid profession in the world. And so I understood that, amateurs don't get paid. Professionals do. That's the difference between being an amateur and a professional. Right? In sports, you're and when they say, hey, you going when they say I'm going pro, all that means is not about to get a paycheck. Right? They've been doing it all their life. And when your compensation starts to increase, that means your professionalism is increasing. Your professionalism is increasing because your personal growth is increasing. Your personal growth, right, impacts your compensation. And so if you want to grow your compensation, then you have to grow personally. And I'll end with this, ladies and gentlemen. People will forget what you said, but they'll never, right? Never how you made them feel. Right? People don't forget how you made them feel. My mentor is long gone. Right? I remember the first gentleman that I followed. When I first got in that company, I was in that company for 8 years. And I moved from Monroe, Louisiana to Dallas, Texas to follow his membership. I remember carrying his golf clubs, right, around in the heat just to get mentored by him, right? 18 holes. You know what I'm saying? In 109-degree weather, right? I remember that because I wanted it. And I remember the impact that he had on my life. I remember the time he spent with me, right? I remember how it made me feel because of the impact of his words, because of his toolage, right? Because of what he installed in me. And I'm taking those things, I'm still giving it back today, right? That's mentorship, right? That's duplication. That's the psychological aspect of what I learned in the industry. And so remember, ladies and gentlemen, right, that this industry is numerical, right? It's duplicatable and it's psychological. Those once you get those three principles down, it'll simplify, right? And so it'll simplify this industry for you. It's not hard. It's not complicated, right? Is it easy? No, because if it was easy, like I said, everybody would do it. But once you start to learn, right, that it all starts with me. And if it starts with me, I have to work on me, right? The numerical part will start to take place. And you'll start to talk to people. Your courage will get better. Your confidence will get better, right? The more no's you go, remember the no's is just part of the math, right? And so go through the no's. Give everybody an opportunity to tell you no. And then the duplication happens when you start becoming attractive. When you start working on you and people start seeing your results, right? Because working on you is going to produce results. And when people start seeing the results, then they're going to be attracted to the results that you're getting. Because people don't care about the labor pains, they just want to see the baby, right? And so people want to see results. When people start seeing results, when they start seeing the changes in your life, they start seeing the changes in your paycheck, they start seeing the changes in your environment, then they'll start to follow you, right? They start to follow you. Once you start to understand people, once you start to understand yourself and who you are, and once you start to help people understand who they are, then you get the psychological aspect of it. And then you can go out and build a great organization, a great hierarchy. And so, guys, I appreciate you for allowing me to share for 43 minutes, man. I hope I said something impactful. I hope that you start to get it, right? And I hope that this helps you grow your business, man. I'm truly grateful to be here. And I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. And we have an opportunity to do something great. We have an opportunity to do something big. This company has everything, right, that it needs to become a legacy company, right? But the thing about it, guys, it doesn't happen without us. We're in the forefront of this, right? We're in the beginning. This is Genesis, right? This is Genesis, guys. And so the revelation is going to come soon, all right? And you're going to be part of everything that happens in between those two chapters. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you all for joining. Y'all have a good morning. Enjoy the balance of your day. And we'll see each and every one of you on the beach of the world as soon as we leave the bank, ladies and gentlemen.